Hi, and welcome to BremSter Puzzles. I'm back to the Sudokétudes set of puzzles. Now, the Sudokétudes are designed to be small sets of puzzles, hopefully allowing people who are newer to Sudoku to be able to solve some of them, although we're starting to get to the point where some of the harder puzzles in the Sudokétudes set are probably quite tricky, but definitely not as tricky as the harder puzzles you would see in most packs or in most areas. So a hard puzzle will probably take an experienced solver maybe 30 to 40 minutes rather than taking over an hour, though maybe not quite as novice friendly. But the videos are here to help you. So, of course, we start the Sudokétudes off with some easy classics, although there is a hard classic in this pack, which you'll see in a couple of days. But let's have a start with Take a Spin. Now, most of these puzzles have been created by my mother, Maggie, and I, though most of them, unless she's been a very active participant in creating the puzzles, she prefers to have them just released under my name. So that's just the way it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the rules basics. All of these puzzles will get released as a pack after the videos are out, so that people can enjoy them, and in the pack is explicit permission in writing for other video creators to create videos about these puzzles or to stream them or do whatever they want. And yeah, as long as the pack is mentioned, that's basically what I prefer, because referring back to original creators is always important. I'm going to go through some of the basics, so let's go through the rules of classic Sudoku. So we have normal Sudoku rules apply, and what that means is into every box, into every row, and into every column, we need to put the digits 1 through 9 without repeating any digits. Now, there's no other rules in this puzzle. Variant Sudoku we'll get to later in this pack, but they're the rules of classic Sudoku, and there's a lot of logic that can be determined from this. Now, I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer, but I'm not going to worry too much about time because I'm going to go through some of the basics of classic Sudoku in some detail to try and help people who are newer to the hobby or have not seen these before to understand how it works. So the thing that I can see straight away is, for example, we know we need to put a 2 into every box. So there needs to be a 2 in this box, but there are 2 2s already in these rows here. So I can't put a 2 into any of those cells here, or I'd repeat the 2s. So what I can do is I can use what's used corner pencil marking, which is done in Sudoku Pad. I do it by holding down the shift and hitting 2, but it is one of the options in Sudoku Pad to put a 2 in the corner here. And the reason I'm putting 2 in the corner is I've restricted 2 now to 2 different cells in this box, and this is what's called Snyder notation. And when you get a digit down to 2 cells in a box, it's worth pencil marking because if in the corner, because if I get to remove one of those 2s in some way, I then know that the other cell is a 2 without needing to rediscover that logic. The other form of pencil marking, which is called center pencil marking, I'll explain when I start using it. So I can also see, and this is where I'm going to put a pencil mark in that I don't need to showcase, I can see that 3 in box 2, because of this 3 can't go in any of those, and because this 3 can't go in any of those. So I can pencil mark 3 like this, but immediately I can see 3 can't go here. So I could have written a 3 straight into here, but this is demonstrating if I'd written these 2 3s in, this 3 would then remove that one, and I can immediately write that 3 in. And these 3s, of course, allow me to write 3s down here, and that 3 then looks across, removing that one, putting a 3 here. Those 3s allow me to write a 3 here, but that 3 is removing that one, so I'm not going to pencil mark again. Now, I probably have 3s a bit restricted. Yeah, 3 and 3 puts 3 in those 2, but that 3 removes it, and that becomes a 3, and that's all of the 3s done. You can double click on a digit to highlight them all, but that's showing me that all 9 3s have been found. And now I can do a restriction on 2s. 2 can't go in any of those cells or those cells. And these cells are already filled. So in this box, which is box 4, I can write the 2. Now, why am I calling that box 4? I probably should have gone through this earlier. It's been a few months since I've recorded one of these. Only a couple of weeks since one's been released, probably, or a few weeks since one's been released. But I record them in batches. So this, as I said, we have boxes, we have rows, and we have columns. The rows are easy. We count them top down. So row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Columns are the same. We count left, right. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Boxes are read in sort of the English reading order. So top left and then down. So this is box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, box 7, box 8, box 9, which is why I called this box 4. Okay, so let's get back to solving. So, now I can do a similar restriction with 4s, and I'm going to ignore that one for a minute. 4s look up and say 4 can't be there. That 4 says 4 can't be there. So I could put back the 4s in here, and now I use that 4 to remove that and write it in. A speed solver would have just written that 4 in, but I'm trying to demonstrate clearly for people who haven't seen this before. Now this 4 says 4 can't be there, and those cells are already filled. So 4 is in one of those two. That 4 looks across. I actually didn't see that one, or I would have written it straight in. And now 4 is in one of those two because of those two 4s. That 4 is looking down and saying not there. So this becomes a 4. This 4 looks down. These two 4s say not in any of those. Those are already filled. So that becomes a 4. The two 4s look over saying 4 has to be in one of those two, but that 4 says not there. So that's a 4. And that's all the 4s in the grid. Okay. So where do I look now? 6. 6 and 6 are removing 6s from those cells, so this has to be a 6. And now I'm going to jump straight to the center pencil marking trick I was talking about, because in this box I'm down to only 2 cells left in the box. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4. I haven't placed a 5 or a 7. So these 2 cells must be 5 and 7. Now I can't resolve those because I'm not seeing a 5 or a 7 looking at them, but those must be 5 and 7. And now if I think about this column, I can't put a 5 or a 7 into any of those cells because in this column we know the 5 and the 7 must go into those 2 cells, because if I was to put a 5 here, those would both need to be 7 and there'd be no 5 in this box. It doesn't work. So these are taking the positions of the 5 and the 7 in column 2. So when I look at these 3 cells, I can do more center pencil marking. Now, why am I calling it center pencil marking? Remember when I pencil marked in the corner and I said these, when I corner pencil mark in a classic Sudoku, I'm marking 2 cells in a box where that digit can go. When I'm center pencil marking, I am pencil marking the digits, the only possible digits that can go into that cell. So when I look at these 3 cells here, I'll highlight them. When I look at these 3 cells here, there is a restricted set of digits that can go into them. I can put a 1 in. I can't put in 2, 3, 4, 5. I can put in 6. I can't put in 7 because the 5 and the 7 is placed. I can put in the 8 and I can't put in the 9. So these 3 cells can only be 1, 6, and 8. Because of the restriction of the rest of the cells. So I can center pencil mark those as 1, 6, 8 because they're the only possible digits that can go in. I can remove a 1 from here and I can remove an 8 from here. But that means that those cells are restricted to only those options. Is that the right way to solve this? I don't know. I don't remember this puzzle. I created this one probably 5 months ago, but I'll resolve it and we'll get there. 1 and 1 are looking up, saying 1's not in any of those. So that is a 1. Can I do more with 1s? Yes, I can. 1 and 1, I could have done this right at the start. 1 and the 1 are looking across saying 1's not in any of those. That 1 says not there, and that cell's already filled. That's a 1. And now 1 and 1 are looking up, so 1 has to go in one of those 2. 6 isn't in any of those, probably not. I can, however, put 6 in one of those 2 for the same reason. So there's only 4 possible digits here. So often you might want to look at, okay, what are those digits? And they're 2, 5, 6, and 7. So this is only 5 or 6 because it can't be 2 or 7. Okay. This one was supposed to be really easy, so I think I'm just missing the Sudoku. When I'm doing a detailed explanation, I often get a little bit lost as to what I'm supposed to be looking for, but that's okay, as long as I explain it well. Shame about that. So in this row, so this is what I mean, some people call this a heavy house, which is not a terrible term. I like to just call it a very restricted, I call this a full row, basically. Like it's a row with a lot of digits in it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically we've got 6 digits in it. So there's only 3 cells that haven't been placed. So I could do the same sort of trick here. What can these 3 cells be? Well, they can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. They can be 5, 7, and 8 only. So this one can't be an 8. Oh, okay. That's not helping me as much as I thought it might. This was flagged as really easy, which normally means that there's no hunting to do. So I'm quite confused as to what I've done. Oh, it's ones again. 1, 1. I should have started with ones. 1 and 1 can't be in any of those cells, and that one is looking down. That's the 1, which takes 1 out of there. And 1 and 1 means 1 is in one of those 2. 9 is in one of these 2. Right, yeah, 9. 9 and 9 is in, so can't be in any of those. That 9 says not there, and that's filled. So that's a 9, which now means 9 can't be in any of those. Those are filled, so that becomes a 9. Okay. Where is 2 in this column? I need to put a 2 in this column. That 2 is saying it's not there. That 2 is saying it's not there, and all of the other cells are filled. That's the 2. And now 2 and 2 are looking across saying there's no 2 in any of those, so 2 has to be in one of those 2. Now, this is a trick I would not normally expect in a puzzle of this difficulty, but I'm going to use it. Where is 2 now in this column? Because 2 has to be in one of those 2 cells. Well, 2 can't be in those because of those 2. 2 can't be there because of that one. 2 can't be there because of that one, and all of the other cells are filled. So this has to be the 2. And now 2 and 2 are filling all of those. So 2 is in one of those 2. But this 2 is looking down saying not there. That's the 2. And now this is down to a triple again. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5, 7, and 9. So these are 5, 7, and 9, but there's no 9 there. So this is a 5, 7 pair, similar to that 5, 7 pair. So this must be the 9. It's the only place the 9 can go in the column. These now become 2, 5, and 7 because they're all that's missing from this row. All of the other digits had already been placed. And the 5, 7 means that can't be a 5 or a 7. That's the 2. Okay. So 2, 2, 2, and that 2 looks up saying that's not the 2, that's the 2. And I don't need to reinvestigate why those 2 2s were pencil marked because that was the first bit of logic I looked for. When you do a pencil mark and you remove one of them, you should be able to trust it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, these are 5 and 6, and the 5 is looking down, making that the 6 and that the 5. The 5, no, but this I think is also a 5 or a 7. Because that's the only digits missing in the row, where in this row, the digits I'm missing seem to be 5 and 6. So this is a 5 or a 6. So where's the 8 in this box? I can't put an 8. Yeah, 8 and 8 means 8 is in one of those 2, but that 8 says not there. This has been an 8, which means this is the 6. So this is 5, 6, or 7. It can't be 5, so this is 6 or 7, and the 6 is looking down, making that the 7, which means this has to be the 5, and this has to be the 6, looking across, making that the 5, and that the 7, and now this has to be the 6 to complete the box. And I have completed this bottom band. Now, don't want to throw too much terminology at you, but normally if you want to break Sudoku down into sections, the way I mostly see it done is the top 3 boxes are called the top band, middle band, and lower band. And if you're working vertically, it's stacks. So this is the left stack, the middle stack, and the right stack. But that comes up quite rarely. So I need to put 5, 7, 8, and 9 into these, and I can't put 5, 7 into those, so that's an 8 or a 9. This is a 5 or a 7 because that's all that's missing from, oh no, the 5 looks up making that the 7. That's a mistake that you will often see a lot of solvers make, and I do it myself, where you see a pencil mark like this and a column with only 2 cells missing, and you say, well, I haven't placed a 5 or a 7, so this has to be a 5 or a 7. What I'd missed is this 5 already made this the 7, and now I'm only missing a single digit, which seems to be the 6, and this is actually a 6. So these are 1, 8, and 9, and there's no 9 there. And there's a digit that I haven't placed in this box. There must be a 7 in one of those. Yeah, the 7, of course, takes the 7 out of there. This is also 5, 8, or 9. And the 5 must be in one of those too. I could pencil mark that, but there's no real need to when you get down to triples. At least I find there's very rarely a need to. This is 5, 7, or 8, but it has to be 7 or 8 because it can't be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, these are 5, 7, 8. That one can't be a 5. These are 7, 8, 9 because I've got 1 through 6 already in the row. So these are 7, 8, 9, and there's no 9 there. This is actually a 7, 8 pair in the column. So these are 1 and 5 for that column, or what was left in the box. This 7, of course, makes this the 5, which takes 5 out of there. That's a 7, 8 pair, making that the 5, which means this is the 1, this is the 5. The 1 looks across, making that the 8, which means this is the 1 because of the 1 pencil mark that was left. Now, the reason this is a 1, 8, 9, I make this the 8. But the reason I could say this is a 1 is because when I placed that 8, I removed one of the 2 1 pencil marks. So the other 1 pencil mark automatically became the 1, even though it could, by its center pencil marks, it could have still been a 9. This is a known digit because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This must be the 7, which makes this the 8, this the 7, this the 8. The only digit missing from the row is the 9, and the only digit missing from the box now is the 7. The 9 takes the 9 out of there. This is the 5, 8, so that's the 9. Something resolves this. The 8 looks down, making that the 7, making that the 8. The 8 looks across, making that the 5, and that the 8. And the 5 looks across, making that the 7, and that the 5. Oh, and I haven't placed this digit. I'm thinking, is this wrong? I have not placed the 9 in box 2. And that solves the puzzle. Now, that was a very slow solve of this puzzle. And I am going to like my own puzzle. But I hopefully was able to explain some of the basic concepts of the way that you can solve a Sudoku and look for how to use pencil marks. These first puzzles are designed to be fairly easy, and I'm not going to explain those basic concepts again because there's really no need to. So I will again if I get to the new Sudokétudes pack. The first puzzles I'll always go through in some detail because expert solvers are not going to need the video for these. But hopefully, if you're new to the series, this will be good for you. Thank you everyone for watching. I really hope you enjoy the pack of puzzles to come and all of the puzzles that I release on the channel. I know these Sudokétudes videos aren't quite as popular, which is weird because they're always new puzzles, but it's the way it goes. Thanks everyone, and as always, good luck with your solving.